There we go. Should start stream about now. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It's time to play more Higurashi and cry like a goddamn baby. Like the bitch baby that I am. But no, this arc is like incredibly sad. So, we continue where we left off. Chapter 7. Chapter 8. And we really want to kill Sadako's uncle, because he deserves it. The die of fate had been cast. Reporting to a public agency, which we kept being warned, could instead result in something far worse for Sadako if we didn't have the evidence first. And just like that. Had I failed? Had I let my emotions get the better of me in that moment? Maybe I should have stayed silent and left everything to Mion, since she had been relatively calm. I remember the punishment game where we had to badmouth Curry, and how me saying anything would have made it worse, and Sadako told us to leave talking to her. Maybe it was the same thing here. I was impulsive, so maybe I should have just shut up and looked at the floor. But it was too late to lament it. The die I had thrown wouldn't be coming back into my hands. All we could do was pray for something good to happen.
Keiichi-kun, you did everything you could. So, leave it to the teachers now, okay?
Everything I could? If I really gave it everything I had, if I had really struggled, I would have dragged Sadako out of her home last night and hidden her in some abandoned house. I didn't, so that means I didn't do everything I could.
Stop thinking about it, alright? You're being a little too persistent, Keiichi-kun. At this rate, you'll collapse.
Just leave me alone. I left her with those words and stared lazily up at the ceiling. I wonder if I'd really got Chie-sensei to understand. Would the public agency intervene and solve everything within the day? Would they acknowledge the abuse and guarantee her safety? After lunch break, our afternoon classes were mostly self-study. Teacher came back into the classroom occasionally, but then the phone in the lounge would ring and she'd have a long conversation with the caller. Everyone in the class got the feeling that they knew what those phone calls were about. Sensei came trotting back from the classroom. I'm really sorry for all the phone calls recently. Let's call it a day. President, please lead the class. Everybody stand up! It looked to me like Sensei had been wearing a dark expression ever since after lunch break. It wasn't a very relieving expression. It wouldn't be. Even if Sensei 100% understood the situation and passionately explained it to the other person, at the end the Child Consultation Center, as a public agency, would be the ones to decide whether to get her to safety. Sensei understood that as well as us. That's why she looks so unreliable right now. Kei-chan, let's go home. I don't think anyone feels like having the club today.
Mi-chan, it's no fun if someone's not here.
Rena was right. It's no fun for us if someone was missing. If the teacher's expression had shown more promise, then maybe we could have gone home more comfortably. But I couldn't let myself feel relieved. I couldn't be naive and tell myself all I could do is pray now that the dice have been cast. Just in case they didn't get to see her to safety and decide to wait and see again, I'd need to take further measures. We've asked the people who could do something official already. Then there's one more place that was worth asking for help. She might laugh it off. Or I might be right, and I could be endangering my own life. But I'd try. Oh, Mion, is it okay if I stop by your place today? You've got a lot of manga, right? I want to borrow a bunch of them. Huh? Sure, I guess. There was an ominous meaning behind my words, so Mion realized that I really meant what I heard away. I wanted to talk about something alone. That's what I meant.
Mi-chan, Keiichi-kun, let's go home.
Rena already had her shoes on and was waving at us from the schoolyard. Mion's house was gigantic in every way imaginable. The house itself was vaguely old-fashioned, traditional Japanese house, but the yard, I guess, or this plot of land, was enormous. It's easily convinced me that they really were major landowners, with Hinamazawa under their thumb. Mion brought me through the guest room, and a servant brought us some tea. Wow, you really are rich, huh? You've even got housekeepers? Grandma and I are the only ones who live here. I wouldn't be able to do everything myself. The servant left, telling us it was 5 o'clock, then withdrew with soft footsteps. We have people come in to take care of Grandma and clean 2 or 3 times a week. They come in rotations of 3 or 4, so there's someone here almost every day. Not until evening, though. Oh, and if we're having a party or something where we need more help, we call up, burp. We call up different people. Wow, this tea makes me burpy. If you had the money to hire all these people, then just take Sadako in. I glared at her as I thought that Mion seemed to catch on immediately. Oh, sorry. It's fine. I know it's not a money problem. Just to be clear, my family may be rich, but it's not money that I can use freely for myself, okay? I don't want you to misunderstand that. It kind of looked like I was bullying her. Mion had been apologizing to me a lot lately. Was Mion the sort of person who would do that this much? Maybe it's just because I've been looking so grim lately. So, what's up? You had something to talk about, right? I have something pretty serious to discuss, Mion. This will be sudden, and you might be surprised, but I want you to hear me out. Huh? What? Oh, I'll give you a way out first. Even if what I say is true, you don't need to admit it. You're allowed to play dumb. But I want you to listen until the end. I have something to say to the next leader of what's still the most important of the three families of the Onigafuchi village, Mion Sonozaki. At first, Mion looked like she had no idea what I was saying, but after hearing the whole sentence and putting it together, she reacted. Where did you hear that? It doesn't really matter. I definitely couldn't tell her who told me. Takano-san. He told me not to, but please forgive me. This is why I asked you about it after all. I was surprised just that you'd heard of Onigafuchi village, Kh-chan. But you seem to know a lot of things, both true and false, about me, too. Yeah, true and false. I really might just have the wrong impression here. But I'm okay with that, so listen. And if it really is true... I don't know what you're getting at, Kh-chan. Let me say this beforehand. You've got a big misunderstanding, so if it were possible, I wouldn't want to hear what you were about to say. Because even if you said it, I can't do anything to help you. Still, if talking about it will lighten your burden even a little, I'll listen. I'm only just going to listen. Nothing more will happen. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'd be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless. That much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the string of freak deaths that had been occurring every year in Hinamizawa. You know that stuff about Odashiro-sama's curse, right? Mion nodded a little. No one knows what it is or why it happens. Even if each incident is solved, the string of deaths and accidents as a whole is still a mystery. But there's one thing connecting them all, and that's how the targets always seem to be enemies of the village. Seems like it. Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me. The day after tomorrow is Watanagashi, isn't it? Has the sacrifice for this year's curse been decided already? Mion didn't answer. Her expression remained the same, too. Like she said, she was just quietly listening. Sorry. The promise was that you'd listen, so it's weird for me to ask a question, huh? Mion gave me a look she'd never given me before. A faraway look. A sympathetic one. She didn't nod, she just smiled faintly and listened to me. If this year's curse isn't going to be on Sadako's uncle, then please change it to him. I mean, last year it was her aunt, right? It's in the right order, so it wouldn't be weird. You're right, it seems like there's an order. I mean, after her aunt died to the curse last year, he abandoned Sadako and fled town for a whole year. Why wouldn't a guy like that definitely be next on Onoshiro-sama's list? There shouldn't be any issue with choosing him for this year. I see. If he were to die from the curse this year, no one would see anything unusual about it. I heard that Onoshiro-sama's curse as well. No matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out. The string of freak deaths in Hinamizawa, also called Onoshiro-sama's curse. You're saying their incidents perpetrated by the village, carried out by the three families on the Sonozaki's instructions. Is that it? I wasn't. I don't care one bit whether you have anything to do with it. I'm just saying, if you have some way of communicating with whoever's deciding the targets of the curse, then I just want you to tell them to choose Sadako's uncle, please. Everything you've been saying has been terrible. If the freak death incidents in Hinamizawa were carried out by the will of the Sonozaki family, that would mean the main culprit would be me, wouldn't it? I would have chosen the target of the curse, given the instructions, killed many people, and gotten rid of the others. You're calling me a murderer, Kei-chan. I didn't say that. Didn't you listen to me?
I don't care whether you're the one behind the murders or not. I just don't. Even if you were the culprit, it doesn't change the fact that you're my friend. It doesn't matter at all. If the police were chasing you, I'd come to help. I'd make you an alibi and even help you escape. Because we're friends and comrades, aren't we? Mion looked surprised for a while. She was dumbfounded. Now you're declaring yourself accomplice. Kei-chan, that's pretty bold of you. Come on, don't interrupt. Sadako's uncle, choose him for... Stop right there, Kei-chan. I want to start on dinner soon, so I'd like to leave things at this. Mion! I then realized my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell, drip, drop, to the tatami mat. It's like I said at the start. You've got a big misunderstanding. Oroshiro's Kama's curse is just that. Even if there were people behind those incidents, they don't have anything to do with the Sonozaki family, or me either. Right. I understand that. It's just... It was touching to hear such a desperate plea, Kei-chan. But that's all it was. Even if I wanted to help, I can't. You understand that too, right? Yeah. But now I know how you feel, so well it hurts. If I really were, like you said, the one controlling the three families and choosing the sacrifices every year, I'd probably grant your wish. Mion. But the reality is different. I'm just Mion Sonozaki. My family may be subject to all sorts of bad rumors about controlling Hinamizawa from the shadows, but we have nothing to do with the freak death incidents. He may have been a little extreme during the Dam War, but that's all. We would never do something so insane as to kill people. Don't say such sad things. Right now, at least, I don't care. Why can't you just be nice and lie to me? Kei-chan, you're free to believe what you like. If I lie to you now, then you'll be convinced Sadako would be freed the night after tomorrow, and you'd be able to share much of your burden. However, reality is harsh. Sadako's uncle will survive beyond that day. He'd still be alive next week, and the week after that. You need to prepare yourself for that. I don't want you coming to me the day after Watanagashi and demanding to know why he wasn't killed. Mion. Mion stood up slowly, closed the sliding door to keep the wind out that had grown chilly. Was it Mio-san? Did she give you all those ideas? She really likes to misunderstand things about Hinamizawa. Well, we can let her have her fun. But I don't really want her influencing you, Kei-chan. Jeez. This is why outsiders are no good. Takano-san has nothing to do with it. Right. Don't worry. Even though I know she told you about it, Kei-chan, nothing's going to happen. It's not like Mio-san will be chosen for this year's curse. Besides, we don't even know for sure if the curse will happen this year. Maybe it was just a pile of unfortunate coincidences. Thanks for listening. If you aren't connected to serial deaths at all, then that must have been an uncomfortable conversation. I'll apologize for it. I see. You'll apologize for it. Mion said she didn't have much time, but she still brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today with Sunday's Watanagashi Festival, so there would be a lot of people from town council and the festival committee coming. Despite her day being so busy, she still listened to what I had to say. If there's a God in heaven, then he probably understands how strongly you feel. Yeah. I'm really sorry for being so weird today. You can pretend like the discussion never happened if you want. Okay. I'll forget about it. Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. I had really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think. It was clear that Takano-san had told me at least wasn't a complete fabrication. If Mion really unconnected to the incidents, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. She heard me out until I was done without making any quips, and I wanted to think that was proof. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's house, called her a serial murderer, and then told her to kill Sadako's uncle. I was the only one talking that whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say, like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off, and to go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. But she didn't. Was that proof that Mion's family, the Sonozakis, were the masterminds, or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me going kind of crazy? I didn't know which it was, but it was the one effort I could make at the moment. It's another form of insurance. Should worst come to worst, and the public agency decided to wait and see. It was completely useless resistance, literally grasping at straws. Sensei said that if she reported the Child Conservation Center, they'd have to respond on the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it right now? If Sadako came to school tomorrow morning all energetic, then everything would just be needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? That night was unusually hot and humid, and I couldn't get to sleep. I said all that to Sensei. I couldn't possibly decide to wait and see again this year. Sadako, what was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmare, enjoying a night of liberation? I actually put my hands together and prayed into my futon.
Good morning, Kate-kun.
Morning.
Thank goodness. I thought you overslept today, too. Your mom said you'd gone on ahead yesterday and that you weren't at school. I was worried that you had gotten heat stroke halfway there.
Yeah, I'm very sorry for all the worry I caused you yesterday. Hey, good morning.
Mi-chan, good morning. Wow, you really stink of liquor. You'll get found out for sure.
Oh, right. Wasn't there a big business meeting with all the people in town council yesterday? They only called it that. It was more like a party. They have the festival every year, right? We wouldn't have any annoying meetings at this point.
Are you going to help out with the festival this afternoon, then?
Yep. I have to do a meet and greet with all sorts of people in Grandma's place. Besides, they already started setting up for the festival. Our morning conversation was lighthearted as usual. It looked like Mion had thankfully forgotten about how I barged into her house yesterday with that crazy talk. The more I think back on it, it felt like I really said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless, and it wouldn't have been weird if she yelled at me. It's highly possible Takano-san had exaggerated her story. To think that our comrade and friend, Mion, the young leader of the Sobazakis, was one of the few families effectively controlling Hinamizawa, was pulling the strings behind a serial death instance was a little unbelievable. But if there was even 1% chance that it was true, then what I said yesterday to Mion might have been a success. Yes, it's no more than 1 in 100. But that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of seeing Sadako up even a tiny bit. At least I'd made that effort. After yesterday ended, I was sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clap my hands and pray that Sadako's uncle would be killed by the curse. I hope Sadako makes it today. Me too. Sensei's doing things for her, right? I'm sure it'll be fine. My aunt is a welfare agent in Hinamizawa district. I gave her a call last night.
Huh? I didn't know your aunt was a welfare officer. What happened? Did you tell her about Sadako-chan?
Yep. Chie-sensei called the child consultation center right after we talked to her. A child welfare officer apparently visited before the night was over. My aunt said that they were going to pay visits at the regular intervals from now on. Enough with the dumb little stuff. I want to know what happened to Sadako. Did they get her safe? My aunt wasn't that informed about it. I was supposed to keep this a secret anyway. Her telling me was a big breach of ethics in the first place. Damn, that makes me feel even worse.
Let's get to school.
Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It's far quicker to go to school and see if Sadako was safe or not. The 3 of us nodded and ran off. Was Sadako safe? What measures has the Child Consultation Center taken? I didn't care what, as long as we could get our peaceful life with Sadako today. It didn't matter. At the shoe racks of the entrance, Venna took a peek in Sadako's shoe cubby.
Ah, Sadako's shoes are here! They're here!
Kei-chan, Sadako came! Thank goodness. We don't know if anything happened just because she came to school. We can't know anything until we see her face. We trotted towards the classroom. The classroom was lively as it usually was in the morning. Sadako! Where are you?
Meep. She's right here.
It's too early in the morning to be so loud. Would you please keep it down a bit?
Sadako-chan! Are you okay?
All of our friends crowded around Sadako excitedly. A probation officer came, right? How did it go? Who was it that called them? I swear, it was quite a mess, you know. It was the teacher. You were absent for so long, of course she was worried. Sadako said, I told you I'm fine, under her breath. She was still trying to overcome all the suffering on her own. It was a big bother to both me and my uncle. That person just barged in on us suddenly. Jeez.
Everyone was worried about you, Sadako. Don't say it was a bother.
Ah, jeez. Anyway, what happened? Nothing happened. My cold got better, so I came to school, that's all. I can't take too much time off from now on because they're all worried about me. What was Sadako saying?
What happened to, well, your uncle?
Oh, he admitted there were some misunderstandings, and we both apologized. Tug. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away. What is it, Rika-chan? Rika-chan silently dragged me all the way into the hallway. Rika-chan, what did that mean?
Sadako said nothing was happening and chased them away.
That idiot! But why? No, somewhere in my mind I thought it might turn out like this. Sadako didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out this pain. She wanted to show Satoshi proof that if he came back to them, she didn't need to hide behind him anymore. But Coach said probation officers can bring her to safety in emergency, even if it's against her wishes. However much Sadako denies the abuse, it's a fact. Chie-sensei finally came. Her expression was far from cheerful. Yes, you're right, Maebara-kun. If the child welfare officer deems it an emergency, they have the right to immediately take them to safety, regardless of the affected party's intent. Then why? Why is Sadako's intent being respected so much? It's weird. Why don't they put her into safety? Well, after the person in charge of the child consultation looked into it from many angles, they determined... What the hell is that? Sensei, didn't you say it'd be all right? Said you'd definitely save her? What's the meaning of this? This doesn't make any sense. Answer me, damn it!
Keiichi, this is the actual third time someone has reported Sadako's child abuse. It happened twice in the past, too.
Furude-san! Sensei tried to stop her, but Rika-chan went on speaking anyway. Twice before? I heard they decided to wait and see after reporting it in the winter before last, but it happened before then, too.
Sadako's father, who died, wasn't her real father.
What? Rika-chan, that's... what? I'm stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea what Rika-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either.
Sadako's mother remarried. She brought Sadako and Satoshi with her, so they weren't related to blood by their father.
Satoshi was a good kid, who listened politely to what adults told him.
He immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved, but Sadako was different. She was rebellious. She told lies. She played pranks. Her stepfather didn't like her at all.
What? So, what do you mean?
And even before she was given to their uncle and his wife, Sadako didn't have a very good relationship with her family.
Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get his new daughter to accept him. But the young Sadako didn't make any effort towards that end. She was distant toward her stepfather and never opened her heart to him even a little. She just got on his nerves all the time, and with seemingly forced lies and pranks. Her father's discipline and punishments must have been loving at first, of course, but that too faded quickly. I don't know, because I wasn't in Hinamizawa at the time, but I learned this on the phone yesterday. What story did you hear, Sensei? That Sadako-chan wanted to trick her parents, especially her stepfather, so she inflicted wounds on herself so she could make a false story about abuse, and that she sent out an SOS herself. She made up a story about hurting herself?
Sadako made a fake phone call to try and get rid of the father she hated.
Child welfare's officers rushed there and heard the story. Her father genuinely apologized for a few times that he had gone too far, and agreed to let the child welfare center give him coaching. Related agencies looked into it quite a bit, determined that Sadako-chan and her stepfather's hearts not being quite matched up was the cause of the incident. But they found another problem above that was Sadako-chan. Problem with Sadako? What was that? Sadako's mother. There were a few times where she had lived with de facto husbands, though those relationships didn't result in remarriage. From a young age, Sadako had been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Sadako's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over a plate, and even throw it. She'd break the windows in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She'd put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps to seriously hurt people. Not in the way she did now, just to get laughs. She was often fond of telling lies that would be found out right away, and people got mad at her every time. But she never ever changed her behavior. Please don't think Sadako-chan was a problem child. Sadako-chan was young. It was an act of self-defense that she had to take against the unknown men her mother had chosen. In regards to Sadako's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were to draw her mother's attention to herself. They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma, and declared that she needed counseling and therapy from professionals. They didn't know whether the therapy had healed the wounds in her heart. Sadako-chan purposely hurt herself, and told that she was being abused by her stepfather in an attempt to chase him out. But, in the end, her stepfather did abuse her, right?
No.
All the abuse had been made up by Sadako-chan. Her stepfather, of course, may have scolded her in a somewhat emotional way, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Sadako had lied to chase away her stepfather, and they saw her through her right away and found out that Sadako had issues. Oh, could it be? That's why, the winter before last, they decided to wait and see.
Yes. The Child Consultation Center had all their past records, said you needed to act carefully in case Sadako was lying.
What the hell? So what? Sadako might be telling a lie so that he needed to be careful, so how does that mean they just end up waiting and seeing?
It was the girl who cried wolf.
That fable about telling a lie once, making others unwilling to believe you later. It's bullshit! The past has nothing to do with this, does it? Only what really matters happens right now is important. Sadako's being abused by her uncle. Why is something that's happened in the past getting in the way of helping her now? Neither Sensei nor Rika had anything to say to that. Anyway, yesterday a probation officer visited to carefully determine what was going on. And Sadako dealt with them, putting on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied the abuse. Of course, she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle. Sadako was trying to outlast everything without asking for help. Sadako wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back home. She outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're not really enduring it. Do you really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. And the fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it. Please stop being weird and pretending to endure it. Forget everything we just said. Understand? If you tell anyone else, your teacher will be very mad with you. Chie-sensei gave me a warning that left to go back to the teacher's lounge.
Keiichi, please don't think Sadako is a pathetic, pitiful girl. She's living life.
I know that. She's our replaceable friend.
Sadako is still trying her best. Let's watch over her a little longer. The person from the consultation said that they'd be visiting periodically from now on. If something terrible happens, they'll help her right away.
Yeah, but only after it happens. Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight, so I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. Mion and Rena were talking to Sadako like they always did. It was a silly conversation, a humorous, even funny one, like it was any old day. If Sadako really said she could still endure it, then maybe I should do as Riko-chan said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer would just go unwanted. Oh, Keiichi. It's okay, buddy. No, Keiichi. Sadako. Ow!
Okay, why don't we all have lunch? Beep. Haha, it's been a while since all 5 of us. This is really how it has to be.
Here, here. Come on, you two. Kei-chan, bring your desk over. Sadako brought her own desk over as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing has resolved, this exchange was pleasant. Made me remember how fun it used to be. I can't have Rika making a bento for me forever.
I don't mind. I have fun making your bento.
Rika-chan's such a good girl. Having such a good friend must be so reassuring.
I put in the big steak. Sadako puts in the burn stuff. So if it was just Sadako, it'd be so sad, so very sad. Nipa!
I take it back. Well, she's Riko-chan after all.
Hey, come on, look! I've got omelet rice today. Mushrooms and stuff are delicious, delicious, how...
I say it every time, but your craftsmanship is splendid. You could become a wife whenever and not have a problem.
Wife, eating a wife. Oh!
Using the word wife is totally forbidden around Rena. Please don't say it again. I'll think about it when I'm done. A little. By the way, what's in your lunch, Mion? It looks different again today. We're all waiting in anticipation. It's rich assortment of side dishes left over from what my uncle brought last night. The stew looks really great, right? The color of the color of the radishes too. Really good, right?
Wow, it looks delicious.
Stew tastes best when it's left overnight. This looks like it'd be really good. And so there'll be none left for Sadako. I'll eat it all and tell you what I think. So just be quiet and watch. What was that? Hand over my portion too! Elbow punch, headbutt. I'll use my knees too. Hurrah!
A course, things like this, my advantage is unwavering. Kate-chan, the daikon on your portion tastes pretty good.
Damn it. Coming right from me from the start and using a combo attack? How humiliating.
This little exchange, how long had it been? It looked like they ended up just going with wait and see approach. But maybe her uncle had realized he had gone a little too far and would dial it back now. If her treatment improved a little, would that be a good thing? Sadako was grinning wider than I have ever seen her as she chomped down on her mouthful of the daikon she had pondered from me. Did it really taste that good? Sadako was somewhat cute like that. And just like I had done many times before, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Catch. Smack. Flip-flop, clatter-clatter. Huh? Sadako-chan? It was so sudden that for a moment I didn't know what had happened. The back of my hand was stinging. I went to pet Sadako's head, and then she hit my hand. What's wrong, Sadako? Sadako was scratching at her head, as though a pimple or something had appeared on it and began itching. It was so sudden, so unprovoked, that I didn't understand what was happening. What's wrong, Sadako? At some point, her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat, and her breathing had turned ragged. When I pet her head, did she not like it? Was that what it meant? Hey, did you just like being petted? Once again, slowly, I held up the palm of my hand and brought it close to Sadako's head. The instant the palm of my hand touched her head, there was a shock like static electricity, and Sadako began to howl. Thud, slam. She grabbed my arm in both hands, as if to fling off a snake trying to cling to her, and as if trying to throw away something dirty, she threw it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. I hit the desk behind me, and both it and I fell to the floor. The classroom fell deadly silent. Sadako bellowed. It sounded like she was in the throes of death. She unsteadily backed away. And then she threw up the food she had just eaten. She vomited it all back up. Splish splat. The sound of Sadako's vomit hitting the floor rang through the classroom. Are you okay, Sadako? You seem sick. I reached out a hand, and she swatted away with all her might, with such extreme strength that I fell into the floor again. Sadako put both hands on her head as though protecting it, groaning some more, and took a few steps back. And then she began swinging both arms around. Students in nearby seats were forced to evacuate. She grabbed anything within reach, bento boxes, chairs, threw them, tossed them, and flung them about. Wait, stop it, Sadako! What's wrong with you? She screamed out as if Mion's words had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Sadako alone in the corner of the classroom. Around her there were desks and chairs all over the floor. Bento lay scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Sadako's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. I'm sorry. A string of tension loosened around Sadako. Maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology. But nobody knew who the apology was directed towards. So for now I decided to answer as everyone's representative. No, it's fine. Are you all right? I'm sorry. Our words didn't match each other at all. Sadako hugged her shoulders, and back she went. Bang! She ran to the locker with the cleaning supplies in it. Even that made her give a little yelp. The impact caused the bucket at the top of the locker to fall, making a loud sound, and that scared Sadako most of all. She almost jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of the curtain in her hands. Nobody spoke to her. I could only look, not even remembering to blink. I'm sorry. It wasn't me. Sadako, what on earth? I stood up, took a step away from everyone, and approached Sadako. What happened? I said, I don't know. You're wrong. Please stop. Please forgive me. Just calm down. Sadako, do you know who I am? No more. I hate this. Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out, Sadako, it's me. It's Keiichi. Don't you recognize me? I would never, ever hurt you. Come on, calm down. It's all right. I'm your friend. Help me. I don't want to be scared. It feels bad. No.
Suddenly my shoulders were grabbed and I was dragged backwards. It was Rena.
Sorry, Keiichi-kun. You get a little farther back.
After pulling me back, she ran towards Sadako in my place.
It's okay, Sadako-chan. There's nothing to be scared of. Please don't worry.
No more. No more. Nini! Help me! As she gripped the curtains and kept calling for Nini, she continued to wail about being forgiven for something and being saved from something else. What is this? Mia gnashed her teeth and groaned. There were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes. What the hell? What is this? Didn't this all come to an end yesterday? Weren't we supposed to get back to our old lives? Mion! Crash. There was a crazy sound. Rena had taken the cleaning supply locker and knocked it down to the ground. Everyone stood surprised at Rena's unexpected act of brutality. After that, Rena embraced the bawling Sadako from behind and started crying with her, stifled. Rena, what's wrong? Sorry. Keiichi-kun, be quiet for a minute. What is it now? What happened? What did Sadako tell you? What did you hear? Shut the hell up! I told you to shut your mouth, asshole! Rena's raw, hostile emotion hit me like a brick. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rena. It was more than that for me. She had shown me what was behind all the emotion. What was in her heart. Oh, Sadako-chan. No more. Forgive us. Couldn't do anything for you. Forgive us. I'm sorry. Forgive us for being unable to do anything. Rona's words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant, blurred with gray, and the world lost its color. I thought we could save Sadako. But though I knew it would be sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. I never even dreamed that we could be too late. I'd been making a huge mistake. I thought Sadako could be hurt, but never that she'd break. It was such a huge mistake. People, they break. Thinking that they don't is absolutely absurd. We needed to save Sadako. We needed to save her before she broke. That fatal lapse in awareness was what brought this on. Whose fault was it? That went without saying. Mine. No, ours. We all took on the duty of saving Sadako, but we were negligent to the point of laziness. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today, and it happened tomorrow, the day after, or next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. So this was the obvious result. I slumped down to my knees, just as Mion and Rika-chan had done. And I, too, closed my eyes tight and couldn't stop myself from sobbing. What is all this noise about? Wait, what happened? The teacher came and her face screwed up, and the terrible spectacle before her. The instant she realized the teacher was here, Sadako went through another complete change. She wiped her face with the curtains and, like nothing happened, smiled. Hojo-san? What on earth is going on here? I just got into a little squabble with Rena-san is all. We went a little crazy over our lunches, right? Rena didn't nod in reply, but then, since Sadako wished it, she nodded without strength. The rest of the class couldn't keep up with her extreme changes. We all just stared in a daze. Oh, it's just a little horseplay. I scared everyone out of their wits. Sadako would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. For what? Her heart is torn to pieces. So what? What else? You wanted your Nini to help, didn't you? But unfortunately for you, Sadashi didn't ever intend on coming back. It's never that easy. He wouldn't just conveniently show up and save you. So you don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away. We can't do anything, Mion suddenly said. She spoke then, those few words that had tormented me countless times. Those words were a spell when I heard them. My whole body suddenly regained its calm. My emotions all slipped away like they had never been there, like a wave departing. I need my tissues. One moment. I need my... Fuck! I knocked over my microphone. Shit. I need my tissues. Where did my tissues go? Because I'm sobbing like a fucking baby. Where are my tissues? Tissues? Where to go, tissues? I didn't use all of you. I know that for a fact. So where did I put you? Tissues! Tissues! Do I have a towel at least I can blow my snot into? Because I'm fucking dribbling the storm here. Ah! Yeah, I think I have a towel in here. I do have a towel in here that I can blow my fucking nose into. Yeah. Ah. I'm definitely gonna have to wash this on my next laundry day, though. Okay, I'm back. I know. Tablet. I just set it down. How did it already flip out of my hands? And then the world's color flipped inside out. My field of view expanded. My head grew remarkably cold. I felt like my mind's volume had grown even wider than the classroom we were in. At the time, my soul was doubtlessly no longer the small, petty vessel of my head, but floating in the air a bit above it was a mysterious feeling of release. I broke free of the cramped confines of my skull and stretched out my roots in all directions as far as I wanted to. It was a strange feeling, and one I had never felt ever before. An odd sense of exhilaration. My sharpened senses caused me to transcend. My mind was sharper than a knife's edge, and I immediately decided that spending the time to let myself be crushed with grief would be absolutely a waste. I erased all the garbage information from my brain. I expelled the pointless emotions presenting obstacles to action. Mion, you curse it all you want. Curse our powerlessness as much as you want. Huh? If I could have taken back what had happened by crying about it, I'd have cried all day. But the fact was, this was how things had turned out. I couldn't take back what had happened. The top priority would be to prevent the situation from worsening further and to sever the chains of misfortune. Until today, I've been looking at things so narrow-mindedly I could scarcely believe it. To save Kadako, the only thing to do to save Sadako. The only thing I thought about. I didn't allow myself to realize the most basic, direct way and certain way of removing the source of Sadako's unhappiness. No, actually, I realized it yesterday. But as for the means, I relied on some stupid curse of some dumb deity. I never considered carrying out the task myself. I would obliterate Sadako's uncle. There are plenty of ways to do it. This was a task that held infinite methods. Ironically, the method of saving Sadako required mostly money. But the method of killing that man pretty much took no money at all. I could kill him with the least amount of investment. The least amount of money suited him. It was only the weight of his life. I kept eliminating needless, worthless information in my head, replenishing it with only the knowledge I needed to achieve my goal. I used every cell in my brain to think about how I'd kill him. The way I killed him didn't matter. I would allow any method from what time and whatever country, as long as it ended in a quick and certain death. If I were to have an additional condition, it'd be not getting caught. Removing him was an act designed to return the peaceful times we had with Sadako. If I was arrested in exchange for that removal, then we might as well have killed each other. With only him gone, we'd go back to our normal lives. That was my supreme objective, my ultimate goal. Kill him, definitely. But definitely don't leave evidence either. Two alternatives at odds with one another. The condition of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. No witnesses was an absolute must. Fortunately, given in the right time in Hinamizawa, there'd be no one around. I mentally reconstructed the land around Sadako's house. The number of pedestrians, different at different times. The movement algorithm of the neighbors. Would I lure him out or charge at him? What would my weapon be? When and where would I carry this out? Where? It needed to be somewhere I wouldn't leave a trace. When? It needed to be as soon as possible for Sadako's safety without wasting even a millisecond. This was absolutely absurd. And if I had thought about it that way, it struck me how easy the act of killing was. If I could leave evidence, and if I was just going to kill him, anyone could easily turn into a murderer. But our reason prevented that. It told us doing so would get us arrested for sure. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide. Absurd. If I went all the way into the very middle of the ocean, you wouldn't leave any trace at all. Anyone could drop those they hated in the depths if they knew that. It's all too easy to simply remove him. If I could leave our class right now, grab a metal baseball bat or something from the schoolyard, go to his house and attack him. The estimated time would be 25 minutes. If I wanted us to kill each other, it wouldn't even be minutes. I could do it in 1,500 seconds. I knew just how much his continued existence depended on me. He was nothing. I could expel him from this world within just 1,500 seconds after making up my mind. From when I decided what to do, he only had 1,500 seconds. Actually, if I ran full speed to his house, that number would go down even further. But he was alive. He was still part of this world at this very moment, having torn Sadako's body and mind to shreds. Why? Because I was letting him live. I was permitting him to live, so he was alive. If I reconciled that permission, he'd be evacuating this mortal coil within 1,500 seconds. You think I'd let you breathe even 1,500 seconds more seconds of air? I'm taking that permission back, right here, right now. You better thank me for letting you live until today. However, I actually needed more than 1,500 seconds. I'm not just going to end you getting back. Our old lives is far more important. It's only you I'll be cleanly cutting out of this world. They won't find a culprit. I'll forget that I dirtied my hands on the likes of you as naturally as I brush my teeth before bed. So to do that, I'll make a special exception for you and give you more than 1,500 seconds. I'll give you special permission to keep on living as you have until I can construct the perfect plan for your murder. Wait, Keiichi, you can't let this time go to waste. Yeah, I know. I'll kill him quickly. I'll remove him with certainty. I won't misuse any time to think of a plan. Think back. Tomorrow is Watanagashi, isn't it? Last year on the night of Watanagashi, her aunt died. Her head was busted open by some deviant and her brain splattered everywhere. That's it. He's someone who deserves to be given death on the night of Watanagashi. Hey, Otoshiro-sama! You call yourself a guardian, but you didn't protect Sadako. Cursing Sadako's family for the damn stuff is your own business. But now you've made Sadako unhappy when she didn't have anything to do with it. I, Keiichi Marabata, hereby denounce you, the guardian deity of human Zawa, a failure. We don't need you. Go back to the deepest, darkest part of your shrine this year. Besides, if you had just cursed and killed both her aunt and uncle last year, none of this would have ever happened. The curse this year, it's not on you. I'll be the one deciding it. It won't be the three families controlling the serial deaths behind the scenes. No, not some vague people who can't tell if they're buffoons or not this time. I'll be the one to deliver divine judgment. So don't get in my way. Just watch. Stay quiet and watch. I'll obliterate him. I'll wipe him off the face of the earth. I will stomp out his very existence. Go away, disappear, and die! And tear your heart apart just like you did to Sadako. I'll have your blood as payment. Keiichi, buddy, take a deep breath. Whoa, buddy. Keiichi-kun, are you alright? Rena and Mion and Riko were all looking after me. Had I fallen to the floor?
You surprised us. You suddenly fell down. Were you having a nightmare? You were moaning.
Shut it. Quit squeaking at me like that. My friends gave a start and backed away. What? Rena and the others exchanged glances, unsure what to say, and stood confused for a few moments.
Well, was that your voice, Keiichi-kun?
Of course it was. Rena gulped firmly and opened her mouth.
For a second, Keiichi-kun, your eyes were really scary.
My eyes? Probably just a trick of the light. Don't waste my time. I'm not mistaken. I've never seen those kinds of eyes before. What are those guys talking about? They've all been too scared of me lately.
You're our Keiichi Marabata-kun, right?
What was Rena saying? What else do I look like except Keiichi Marabata? The look I gave her seemed to speak quite eloquently of those irritated thoughts. She understood and quickly apologized.
I'm sorry. Don't worry about it.
Oh dear. I think now we've got the eyes. We got them demon eyes. The demon eyes! Woo! Otoshiro-sama is now in us. Now we have the goddamn. Now we have the issue. And now we got new tips. And also 1,500 seconds. I'm gonna put that in something. Emergency. June 18, 1983. Abuse issues regarding Sadako Hojo. Urgent. We propose that Sadako Hojo must be taken into immediate custody based on the items below. 1. Family situation. Life with adoptive father who recently returned to Hinamizawa has already turned disastrous, and she is currently subject to unenduring physical and mental abuse from the father. Child Consultation Center's response. A child probation officer was dispatched yesterday on the 17th to the Prefecture Welfare Office, but because of the 77 case, changed to continued coaching and cautionary action. Fortunately, the consultation office head does not properly understand the situation. Status of concerned child. Child already appears to be suffering from an outbreak of something close to neurosis or manic depression. If her unstable pubescent mind is negatively stimulated by stress, it put her development of a healthy body and mind at risk. This cannot be allowed to continue from a humane standpoint. 4. Allegations made to family court. We propose, based on the above items, that Sadako Hojo be immediately taken into protective custody. She should be secured temporarily under emergency allegations to the family court under Article 28. We request emergency coordination between all related agencies. So they want to get her a protective agency. D3 Fujijiso D23 number 44, 1977. Child name Sadako Hojo. Residence Hinamizawa Village, Hishibon. Consultation circumstances. Telephone SOS from child of child abuse. 2. Abuse situation. Child claims she has been physically abused by her adoptive father. 3. Blank mark abusers. Adoptive father, real mother, older brother, child in question. Note, adoptive father and real mother entered family registry in 19 blank blank. Child and the daughter of the mother's previous husband. Child Consultation Center's response. On the day of the child's telephone consultation, the center called the child's school and asked for her situation. On that day, the Child Welfare Office on duty visited the child's house and conducted an interview. The adoptive father sincerely listened to the instructions and agreed to take child-raising workshops in the city from now on. As part of the suggested coaching, the center will continue to observe the situation. Other notes. As a result of numerous consultation sessions at the city's education consultation office regarding the child, we learned it was a high possibility the cause of the child's excessive distrust towards her adoptive father was a result of a lack of communication. The abuse she claimed hadn't actually taken place. She had made a false report to distance herself from her adoptive father. Below is a note written in pencil by the person on duty on that day. The problem appeared to be more with the daughter. Chief Investigator F of the city's education consultation office said that most of her stories of abuse were likely fabrications. They decided to shift the focus of their coaching to the child. Be cautious not to take everything the child says as truth. And now that she's actually in a terrible abuse situation because she cried wolf, it's made her situation worse. And now Keiichi's going to make the situation even worse than that. Because he's going to go kill the goddamn uncle. Oh, Jesus. Everything's bad. Everything's terrible. Everything's awful. Oh, no. Mion and the others, having set up for the Watanagashi festival or something, invited me along, but I refused. Of course I did. What could they be taking it so easy and setting up for a festival in this situation? Mion had a lot of nerve. The first thing I did when I got back was take a shower. Not because I wanted to wash off sweat. It was because I wanted to be even calmer. I already understood this, but killing that man would be so very easy. The really hard thing would be not getting arrested for it, so we could get our peaceful days back. As I thought about it, I realized it wasn't easy. Japan's police force had the highest arrest rate in the world. I would need to deceitfully pull off the perfect crime, and it couldn't be half-hearted attempt. Still, it wasn't 100%. Even the best police force in the world couldn't have a 100% arrest rate. I've read a lot of articles on trials with people brought up on false charges. They do a lot to determine whether they really were false accusations, but figuring out who the real criminal was usually out of the question. And that meant perfect crimes did exist. In fact, perfect crimes were sort of like works of art. They could even be respected and revered. You just take a look at the inundation of the mystery novels everywhere throughout history. They dealt with all sorts of difficult-to-solve incidents, including involving secret rooms and alibis and stuff, but they all wanted to show one thing. They wanted to show the beauty of a perfect crime. There's something divine in the flawlessness of the word perfect. Yes, perfect crimes were skills of the gods. And in that sense, the serial freak deaths that they were calling the curse of Oroshiro-sama, I understood. They must have been the works of gods. Each one appeared to have been resolved.
but they couldn't stop it from happening every year. Yeah, skills belong only to gods. Those are perfect crimes. I'd be setting up my own crime before I should have saw a series of perfect crimes 4 years in the running. If I were to put it boldly, I was challenging a god. Foolhardiness would be needed to make the decision, but I needed the calm, cool, colder than ice to put that plan together. Kill him like a flame, but as systematic as ice. Starting now, I need to retain both of those ideas within me. Modeling my crime after a mystery novel wasn't actually a bad thing to focus on. Sometimes kidnapping involved disturbing original methods that made it into the newspapers were used as a basis of novels after the person was arrested. Stuff like that made it into the news. Day and night for a very long time, mystery novel authors polished and refined their most fantastic artistic crimes. Imitating that could be a shortcut to playing the perfect crime in a short period of time. Of course, I hadn't read enough mystery novels to act all high and mighty about them. The one who really liked mystery novels was my mom. She had read every well-known mystery novel from overseas, from past to present, and every time she watched mystery shows, she would always criticize them for having cheap tricks or being poorly thought out. I wonder what the perfect crime would mean to her. Hey, Mom! What do you think the most well-done perfect crime in all mystery novels I've read is? Is? Yeah. Well, you read quite a lot of them, right? I figured you might know a lot about them. It's more fun to read them to find out. If I told you all the tricks right off the bat, they'd be no fun anymore. It wasn't like I was asking for my own amusement. She was deflecting the question, so I'd somehow butter her up first and drop the answer. Of course, Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None is my top recommendation. And Murder on the Orient Express used some great bold tricks, of course. I didn't see it coming at all. I don't want to know which novels you liked. I wanted to know about the trick that made you the most surprised. If it was really a perfect trick, then the detectives wouldn't be able to solve the case, though. That was true, and there'd be no point. Mystery novels are enjoyable because the process of the mystery is getting solved. If it was unsolvable, it wouldn't be a very good topic for a novel. I get it. Yeah, you're right. If the main character can't solve it, it wouldn't be much of a story, huh? Is that being too simplistic? A mystery novel is basically a game. If they were written so that you could get to the goal, then you could solve them. But I couldn't use something so optimistic. It needed to be the be-all, end-all of tricks, so that we could, without a doubt, return to our old lives. By the way, Keiichi, do you understand that truly perfect crimes don't even become stories? Mom looked at me intellectually and grinned impishly. I'd never gotten to read it, but apparently one time a long time ago, Mom had written her own mystery novel, and submitted it for some mystery novel award. Apparently she was really into it. They don't even become stories? What does that mean? Keiichi, what are the essential parts of a story? A beginning, a middle, and an end. Correct? The beginning, of course, is especially important. If there's no beginning, then the story never starts. Well, yeah, if nothing happened, nothing would begin. Right. Nothing happened, so there wouldn't even be an incident. Detectives wouldn't be called, so there wouldn't be any mystery. There'd be no mystery, and there'd be no solution. In other words, it would be the ultimate perfect crime. Wait a second. Could you explain that again? My mom just told me something absurd, and she was saying it so smoothly, too, so I kind of tuned her out, but she said something extremely important just now. It's not really that difficult to understand. The incident just has to never come to light, that's all. Just has to never come to light. For example, how about this? Say there's an old man living deep in the forest nobody goes into. Uh-huh. And one day the old man gets killed by an axe. And let's say the criminal has the old man's son. He went to the old man's house, and they were drinking together, but they got into a fight, and he killed them. An extremely cheap plot. It was an impulsive crime without a bit of planning. Pretty far from a perfect crime. But Keiichi, the house was really, really deep in this forest. So deep in the mountains that nobody would ever go out that far. And his son would go back to town and say that the old man was doing fine. What about that as a perfect crime? Keiichi, this incident would only begin when they found out that the old man was killed. If nobody ever visited the old man's house after that, that beginning would never occur. The beginning would never occur. So basically, the story wouldn't start. The incident wouldn't come to light, and they wouldn't call in detectives, and nobody would be suspicious in the first place. So there'd be no mystery. They'd think the old man was just living by himself deep in the forest, and the old man's face would appear in the sky, and that would be it. Something like that, you know? That's amazing! That's a pretty great trick! But it wouldn't be a novel. Mystery novels are for entertainment, after all. They couldn't be instruction manuals for perfect crimes. I was trying hard to talk cheerfully to fool her, but instead I was excited. special tools, strange geography, mysterious drugs, traps involving sums of cash, none of them would be needed for perfect crimes. The important thing was that there wasn't a beginning. As long as the incident didn't come to light, it'd be fine. Speaking broadly, if I could kill him without anyone finding out, and dispose of the corpse somewhere no one could find, it'd be basically already be a perfect crime. Of course, if someone up and vanished one day all of a sudden, people get suspicious. But that didn't apply to this man. Last year, after their aunt died, he ran away from the village in fear of Otoshiro-sama. When the night of Tatarigoroshi came around again, everyone would have to think that he ran away in fear again. I mean, he had been living with a lover of his in town. No matter what it felt like when he vanished, no one would be suspicious. People hated him, after all. No one would care if he went if he disappeared. As I thought about it like that, it got easier and easier to imagine killing him. There was no point thinking inside my house anymore. I left, getting my bike out of the garage. For now, it didn't matter where I was going. I just rode through the wind, trying to calm my excitement by feeling the cool air on my body. Where I'd kill him, how I'd do it, what time, and how to dispose of the corpse. If I'd just those 4 things, I could get a good plan going. I'm so surprised at how little there was to decide that I shivered. I'd been completely prepared to build this humongous plan over a really long period of time, but if I could just get these little things in order, I could put it into motion. Today was Saturday. I would have to kill him on the night of Watarigashi. So long as I was standing in Inoshiro-sama, I only had 24 hours remaining. Satoko, just hang on for 24 more hours. I can't even imagine having to suffer through even more, but please hold out for a little longer. I know you can't even last another second. I know that, but please just hold on. Your Nini will save you for sure. Outside, it was still early enough for the cicadas to be crying. Just yet. I clicked away from the game. God damn it. Early afternoon. Evening was still a long ways off. I looked at the sky. At some point it had gotten cloudy. Come to think of it, as I left the house, I heard the TV that the weather forecast was calling for a chance of rain on Sunday. The sky was the color of lead. But I heard a little bit of thunder. I'd definitely have to expect a sudden evening shower. My first destination was school. Before explaining why I was going there, I needed to explain what method of killing I had decided upon. I decided that the most suitable death, the one I needed to give him, was the same as last year's curse. The same as the punishment their aunt had received, being beaten to death. Wouldn't beating him to death be somewhat unreliable? You may think that stabbing him with a blade would be more reliable. But this was something I had chosen after a lot of thought. You just needed to think realistically. The law, it prohibited carrying any blades longer than 10 centimeters, I think. So the blades available to me, though long enough, would be limited to things shorter than a ruler. You can probably understand how tricky it would be with such short range to go up against an opponent that might fight back. In that case, using a weapon with reach would be far more effective. It might not have the same precision, but you just have to hit the guy until you killed him. Both options resulted in death. With that settled, what is the weapon with the most terrifying force behind it and is also easy to carry around? By this point, you should immediately think of a metal baseball bat. I don't need to explain how terrifying a metal baseball bat can be as a weapon. Of special note is the fact that you can carry one around in broad daylight and not be thought of as suspicious. Just those 2 points would be enough to choose a metal bat for your weapon. But there was one more reason for choosing a metal bat in particular. I'll speak about it later. After school that Saturday, my classmates were still having fun playing in the schoolyard. I could show up there, and it would be the same as always, so nobody would think I'm suspicious. Getting my hands on weapons without looking suspicious was actually a factor I couldn't ignore. I didn't normally play baseball, so if I went to the sports store looking for a metal bat, it would definitely be suspicious. I couldn't let there be a beginning to the story, so I needed to be really careful about that. That left school as a location to which my appearance wouldn't be suspicious. I would acquire the weapon. I checked inside the classroom through the window, but of course there was nobody there. The only students who stayed in there were me and the others when doing club activities. The classroom after school was just an empty, unused room. Without glancing around nervously, as if I had just gone to get something I'd forgotten, I casually went in the entrance. It looked like the teacher was busy with paperwork at the teacher's lounge. I didn't see her in the hallway. Naturally, yet quickly as a shadow, I entered the classroom. The empty room was full of a strange, stagnant air that you couldn't feel normally. An empty classroom, with nobody here. Maybe while no one was around, the dressed creep were about to their own accord, licking the floors clean of dirt. I suddenly stepped in a place like that. But the desks, in surprise, fly at me, crushing my bones and eat me alive. That's ridiculous. I felt regret at wasting valuable time thinking on stupid delusions. The students' lockers were lined up at the back of the classroom. The one I was looking for wasn't my own. It was a forbidden locker. One I had accidentally discovered one day. Here it is, Hojo. This has to be it. If one person has one locker, then why would only Satoko have two? I'd made a fuss about it once. After that I learned it was Satoshi's locker. He had the same last name as her. But of course, even though it was a locker for a student no longer here, I looked inside it like it was still a shameless fact. But one time, I let my curiosity get the better of me and took a peek inside. Inside it was worthless, and average. At the time, I had been interested, so until now I'd forgotten what had been in it. But now that I had, dare I say it, awakened, I remembered the thing that had been there. Scrape. I opened the locker and the stench of mold and sweat wafted out, like a gym storehouse that hadn't been cleaned in weeks. My face puckered up at the stench, but I looked for it. Yes. Satoshi was on Coach's baseball team. Inside the locker was a Hinamizawa fighter's uniform, and it, the one Satoshi used, the metal bat. Yes. This is the reason I wanted to choose this bat. This murder would be carried out by me, but this wasn't originally my role. It was Satoshi's. But I would stand in for him and call myself Sadako's Nini. It was one of the rules for standing in for him. I reached for the metal bat and grasped it firmly. Grasp it firmly! It was light, and yet its tip had enough heft in it, enough to easily imagine the horror I brought down on it with all my might. Satoshi, I'll give you one last chance to save your sister. Lend me your strength. You're a coward, but I'll stand in for you. So if you could still care even a little bit about her, you will lend me your strength. There's no more suitable weapon in the world for putting that man to death than your bat. No, I just needed to figure out where to hide it. Tomorrow, before the act, I would just stop by the school and grab it. Because I couldn't ignore the possibility of someone would see me bringing it home and thinking it was strange. But if I left it here, there wouldn't be a problem. Plus tomorrow was Sunday. Not only that, it was the day of the biggest festival in the whole village. Nobody would be coming to school. I left out the entrance and went over to a construction vehicle parked nearby. We had been warned by our teachers not to touch it, just for laughs, so none of the kids would come near the vehicle either. They wouldn't, because if she found out they touched it, they'd be in huge trouble. I quietly hid it, in the shadow of the vehicle. The chances of someone operating the vehicle tomorrow was slim to none, because tomorrow was Sunday. Government workers had the day off. And, from what my classmates had said, the thing had been left here for years now. Machines that hadn't moved in years, you can't just suddenly start them up again. So, I was almost definitely fine in this case. The sunlight was piercing hot. My head grew faint for a moment. Had the heat been this harsh for the entire day? A moment of dulled thoughts like this was a moment of carelessness. I gave myself a couple hits in the head, then looked around warily. Firmly grasp it! You came in right at that time. Nice. Okay, next, how to dispose of the corpse. Keiichi! You can't just murder someone! You're thinking of all the right things, which I guess is good if you're going to go about the act of murdering someone. But you can't just murder someone out of the blue. You just can't do that. Disposing of the corpse. The ultimate way of not creating a beginning was not to let the corpse be found. It was even more important than killing him. Thinking on it vaguely, the first thing that came to mind was the swamp. Onigafuchi, the dreaded bottomless swamp, revered even now, that appeared in the legends of Okinagafuchi village. Yes, the swamp after Onigafuchi was here first, and the village took its name, become Onigafuchi village. In other words, the swamp was the origin of Onigafuchi village. No one, no matter who it was, would float back to the surface of this bottomless swamp. Everyone would be swallowed down into the land of the demons below the earth. That was how the stories went. If I was trying to copy Oyashiro-sama's curse, and I felt the theory demanded I discard the remains and the weapon in the swamp. But they may have said it's bottomless, but I didn't actually know. People say large creatures like humans produce lots of gas when they rot, granting a lot of buoyancy. That's why using fairly heavy objects to hold them down didn't work. Come to think of it, with the curse here before last, a good chance Mother drowned herself in the swamp. The criminal behind this dismemberment that went missing that year of the first curse too, it was rumored he tried to discard the body in the swamp and accidentally drowned in it.
Never heard of the corpse coming back up or them finding it. Then shouldn't I choose to discard the corpse there too? I could discard the weapon there. And then, for example, if her uncle came out on a motorcycle and attacked, it would be convenient to get rid of the bike too. I knew that Sadako's uncle generally used a motorcycle for transportation. But as for the corpse... After a lot of worrying, I decided not to discard the corpse in the swamp. The drowning, suicide, and accident were both rumors. Nobody knew if they actually happened. There was no lack of false rumors around the drowning and suicide anyway, and it was possible that the murderer hadn't drowned there and was still on the run. That meant no one had ever confirmed a corpse being dropped in there and then not coming back up. Then what would I do with the body? I thought it might be interesting to go in the first incident, cut him into pieces, and hide him, but the preparation work for dismembering a human body would be difficult given the amount of time I had. With that out of the question, I arrived at the conclusion to go with the more orthodox method of burying the body. Then where would I bury it? Was a question related to where I would kill him. Of course, I wanted to keep my time and proximity to the body to a minimum, and with that in mind, I wanted to dig the hole to dump the body in beforehand, and make the location of the act of the hole close together. The choice of where to put the plan of the crime, that I needed to absolutely careful and thorough with. It had to be somewhere nobody would witness it. A place with hiding places for sneak attack. I could dig a hole for the body right there. I go over the possibilities in my head of various destinations her uncle would head for from Sadako's house. I imagined a map of the area in my head, and found a place that fulfilled those conditions so easily it was almost unbelievable. A bit of a back road that went through the woods. I didn't think her uncle would go deeply into the mountains of Yagouchi on a whim. If he was going somewhere, he'd pass through these woods first, and nobody would use this back way unless they had a place something to do at Sadako's house or one or two more other places. The path was fantastically ideal, as few people used it. I'd wait for him in these woods. Would an ambush actually be possible? I went into the trees and tried really hiding myself in a few places. It's extremely quiet. My senses could be sharpened here to their maximum amount. I don't know when he'd come, but I'd wait right here for Sadako's uncle. I actually had some trouble coming to that decision. The question arose whether I should somehow call the man out. Was there a risk I was taking by luring him here? The man made Sadako do all the shopping and errands. He seldom left on his own business. He wouldn't leave unless I worked out a plan to force him to, wouldn't he? That was the question. Tomorrow was the Watanagashi festival. Would he go out for the festival, or would he stay inside? If he stayed inside, how would I drag him out of his house? That's right. Wouldn't he make Sadako go to the festival? Sadako would go to the festival. Meanwhile, I'd call the man. This is the Okamiya police station. We had the young lady from your house. Would you come and pick her up immediately? I didn't even have to be the police. This is the clinic. The young lady from your house has been injured. Please come and pick her up. Yes, that would work too. If I claimed to be the police at the hospital, told him to come and then hung up on him, he'd rush there trying to figure out what was going on, wouldn't he? And just the other day, he was visited by the probation officer. He wouldn't suddenly grumble about having to get his niece and not go. It would look like child negligence. That man had no skills useful around the house. Sadako, his slave, was an essential part of his daily life. Conclusion. If he went out to the festival, I would attack him here on his way there or back. If he didn't, I would lure him out by phone. If luring out by phone was my first step, I needed to be sure Sadako would go to the festival leaving the house. It'd be convenient if I could make Mion take Sadako to the festival. She said her aunt was a district welfare officer. In other words, an ally to the probation officer. If I somehow incited Mion to take Sadako to the festival with her, well, being who she was, she'd use the fact and get her there. Sadako would just take a break and have fun at the festival with everyone. She would have a good time, reminisce on our former peaceful days, and when she went home, everything would be over. Yeah, that would be the best outcome. I got decided I needed to dig a hole somewhere in the woods to hide the body, so it wouldn't stand out, so it wouldn't be found. Some place nobody would see me while I was completely exposed as I buried the body. I had wanted it to be close to the scene of the crime, but it naturally grew further away. Deep in the bosom of the Black Forest, the voices of Higurashi were the only sound here, informing me that people shouldn't indiscreetly set foot in this place. Digging a hole. Digging a hole with so many tree roots crawling around the ground would be far more difficult than I had imagined. I snuck a gardening spade out here in my bag, but that wouldn't be enough. Still, as I looked into various approaches, I managed to find a place I could dig into. Tomorrow I'd bring a real shovel from the storeroom at home. I'd imagine with that. I wondered how big a hole would be able to fit a human all the way into it. I'd probably have to dig pretty deep down. But if I was a slipshod in these efforts, I'd let a beginning occur. I absolutely couldn't allow that. Use any amount of time you need to. I mustn't spare any effort to utterly erase him. I glanced at my wristwatch. It was a little past 6. This is probably all I was going to be done here for today. I really wanted to dig the hole in advance tonight, since even if it got dark out, but Mom would be upset if I stayed out that late. It wouldn't be good to come off as suspicious to my parents. I needed to go back home and give Mion a call soon. I needed to get her to promise Sadako to take her by tonight. After that, today would be done. Done. Would it be, though? Is this really everything I could do to prepare right now? I decided where to kill him. I decided how to kill him. I decided, of course, how to dispose of the body. I didn't decide on a time, but I'd play that by ear. I didn't have a way to decide that. Was that really all? Is this really all right? Have I overlooked something? Would this really go how I planned? After all this, worries started to well up one after another. It's only natural I'd be anxious. It'd be the first and last big job of my lifetime. I could not allow failure, and I had no experience, as this was my first time. I didn't have the know-how, the knack, so it was only natural I'd be anxious. The dark clouds of unease told me doing nothing would be the easiest way. A truly pathetic suggestion this late in the game. Have you forgotten how miserable Sadako looked? From the outside it may have looked like I was resolute, but deep in my heart my knees were shaking loudly. I had never actually won a single fight in my satisfaction. Could I really kill someone? I may have been planning an ambush, but my enemy was larger and far older than me. He had a scary face and he looked like he was well accustomed to fighting. Could I have... All the pieces before and after the murder were perfectly planned, but was the actual murder the most important part, what unsettled me the most? All my preparations, all my perfectly concealed machinations, if I didn't successfully murder him, they amounted to nothing. Damn it! To coming this far, you're pathetic, Keiichi Marabara. If you start having these kinds of second thoughts, your ulterior motive will be obvious. Let's go home. Go home and calm your mind. Tomorrow will be a juncture in your life, the likes of which graduation, employment, marriage, and childbirth can't hold a candle to. A day of murder, to kill someone for someone else's sake. With that day behind us, we could make it back again. Those mild, spring-like days we never thought would stop. Those peaceful, safe, fun times. I pedaled my bicycle hard to get back home. I felt somehow unsteady, like my body and soul weren't in alignment. A subtle shift between where the tips of my hands and feet were, and where I felt them to be. My vision was a little distant and narrow, as if the great barrier I risked my life on had nothing to do with me. An unreal sensation. How could I put it? Everything was so far away. Fine. Feel your unease permeate you, Keiichi Marabara. That will turn you timidly into meticulousness and allow you to act with greater caution. It's actually an important emotion to feel. This feeling I had never went away that night. Announcement time! It was the first time I called Mion's house. I searched for her phone in the phone book the school gave me, and dialed a short phone number and the kind of unique to remote places. It was around dinner time. She would probably be home. But just as I started to think nobody would respond, someone finally picked up the receiver. Hello, this is Sonozaki. Oh, I'm sorry for calling so late at night. Is this Mion? Huh? May I ask who's calling? It's me, Keiichi. Ah, oh, Kei-chan. It's pretty late. What's up? She seemed to be in a weirdly good mood, and she drew her syllables out. Right, it's the night before tomorrow's festival, so she's probably with her family having some drinks. Sorry for the late call. Do you have time right now? Sure, what is it? It's about Sadako. I heard her draw in a small breath on the other end. Sadako, she's in a pretty bad spot. I hope she's okay. The scent of sake has completely disappeared from her voice. She can't be okay. You saw it too, didn't you? What she was like? She was completely worn out from all the abuse. We failed her all this time, and now she's become like that. We didn't fail her. Everyone tried their hardest to help her. But we didn't come up with anything, and we couldn't save her. In the end, we couldn't do anything about it, and now she's become like that. I guess you're right. All I did was watch, after all. So, well, at least... Couldn't we at least let her have fun for one more night? Huh? Let her have fun? She's been so battered lately, you understand. That's why I want you to take her to the Tatarigoroshi festival tomorrow. I don't mind, but why? Why? I want to give her a breather, at least for the festival night, you know? Even if it's just one night, if she can get away from her evil uncle, then I think she'll be happy. Even if it's only for a little while. Yes, but why? Why what? I was having a little difficulty understanding what Mion was asking me. Why, well, I mean, why don't you bring her, Keitan? Why do you need to ask me to do it? Mion was persistent about odd things. No, maybe it was better to say that she was sharp. I actually have something to do tomorrow. I can't make it to the festival. So I wanted you to take Sadako there for me. Something to do? It's nothing major. I'll probably finish quickly, but I might not be able to meet up with you all tomorrow. Hey, Mion, could I leave Sadako to you, just for tomorrow night? Mion took a long time to give a reply. I got the feeling that Mion had been acting weird for a while now, like she was flustered by emotions or something. No. Huh? Was that a sob? Mion? Are you crying? I said no, I don't want to. I don't want you to push this on someone like me. I'm not trying to push anything on you. It's just for tomorrow night. It was a lie. What? Mion, what was she talking about? Saying it's just for the night of Wada Nagashi, and then it was forever. Liar. But I guess we're even, huh? I couldn't keep the promise I made with you. I left her alone. Alone all this time. I had no idea what to say to that. Mion was clearly now talking to someone other than me. I didn't know who. All I could do was listen to her in a daze. You never came back after that, and now you called me again to push her onto me? You're so unfair. Hey, you're Satoshi-kun, aren't you? Mion, what are you talking about? When I said her name, whatever spell she was on, Mion was released. Ah, I'm sorry, it's nothing. It's just that I got a phone call like the one you're making now, a long time ago. Was it from Satoshi? Mion didn't answer. All I could hear was sobs coming through the receiver. Sorry, I think I'm still a little tipsy. I got all weirdly emotional. Sorry, I probably scared you. I had no idea how it happened. But I was pretty sure that last year on this very day, Satoshi had called Mion and told her to bring Sadako to the festival. When she asked why he needed her to do it, he replied the same way I just did. Satoshi didn't go to the festival, did he? Yeah. He said he had something to do and couldn't make it. And he told me to take Sadako there in his place. At the time, Satoshi said it too, didn't he? That he'd leave Sadako to you? Yeah, he did. Just for tomorrow night. The way you said it was just like he did. Just got a little upset, caught up in a memory and all. I didn't expect this. Satoshi had given her the exact same phone call 1 year ago today. Mion kept going after that. That he was lying. That he told her it would only be for the night of the festival. I get it. A few days later, Satoshi, he disappeared. Disappeared might have been a vague way to put it. Whether he ran away or not, Satoshi left, abandoning Sadako. Yes, he didn't transfer or run away from home. He disappeared. And then, an idea far more indistinct than even fog crossed my mind. Satoshi made the exact same phone call as me last year. Why would Satoshi make the exact same phone call? If, in the truest sense, he really made the exact same phone call as I am right now, then the instance where his aunt was beaten to death, could it... That's Satoshi. Huh? What was that? Last year, Sadako had been constantly abused by her uncle's wife, their aunt, too. Her aunt abused her the most, and on that night, in the name of Otoshiro-sama's curse, she was taken from this world. If I thought about that, everything made perfect sense, didn't it? Last year, Sadako's aunt was beaten to death, wasn't she? Would it be impossible for Satoshi to have... No, but that would mean... But then Satoshi was a coward who abandoned Sadako and ran away, wasn't he? How could Satoshi, resolve himself to kill a person to save Sadako? It was unthinkable. I actually considered that as well, though it would mean to Satoshi. A few days later, he disappeared, on Sadako's birthday. When I first heard it, I flew into a rage. What a cruel day to run away on. But then I thought about it like this. The story changed completely. Satoshi had probably even less calm than I was now. He was her big brother, related by blood, watching his little sister be abused day in and day out. Maybe that's why he couldn't keep calm. And that was why the corpse of their aunt beaten to death was so easily discovered.
Satoshi lost himself in his anger and hadn't hidden the corpse. He'd permitted a beginning to occur. If the police conducted a full-blown investigation, it was easy to imagine that they wouldn't take long to pin down Satoshi as the culprit. Satoshi, he wished for a return to peaceful days with Sadako, and though he achieved it for a time, he had been steadily driven into a corner. And then, he wanted at least to hold out until Sadako's birthday, and finally they nailed him. At that time, Satoshi had been carrying the savings he amassed to buy Sadako a giant stuffed animal for a birthday present. He'd buy the stuffed animal as her gift, and then get caught. Or he could use the money and disappear. That was the choice he had been forced to make. He decided not to make Sadako the sister of a murderer. If that was the case, it must have been an unspeakably bitter decision. All the money he had saved wanting to see Sadako happy, he had to use it to make her sad. And he used the savings, and disappeared to Tokyo if the rumors were true. Was that how Satoshi disappeared? I don't know. That Oshi guy seems to think that way, though. Oshi. Had he been slowly driven into a corner by that repulsive man's pig-headed pursuit? The circumstantial evidence is all there, but I think your deduction is wrong. They caught some crazy drug addict somewhere in the prefecture. He appeared to turn himself in for the crime. That was right. The deviant had confessed, and the incident was solved. He said he was really just a crazy person. He had no ties to Hinamizawa. No relationship with Satoshi, of course. I mean, I have a pretty hard time believing that guy would lie in Satoshi's place. Couldn't just arbitrarily decide like that. You never know where or how humans are tied together. If that guy took the blame, then it was the perfect crime. Of course, if it was really a perfect crime, there wouldn't have been no reason for Satoshi to vanish. Plus, I don't think Satoshi was the kind of money to run away. The day he withdrew all his savings, no matter who I tell this to, no one will believe me, but that stuffed animal he said he was buying for Sadako, it was gone from the display, sold. It must have had to have been Satoshi. Wait a minute. If he didn't use the money to flee and bought the stuffed animal instead, he would have gone back to Sadako, wouldn't he? It seems unbelievable he'd buy it and then disappear without having given it to her. Yeah, so now I don't know what happened. It would be one thing if he had the money, but if he used all his savings on it, he'd be totally broke. You can't live on the run without money in this world. I didn't get it. After all that, I was understanding Satoshi less and less. The two of us fell silent. I can't remember how we even got on this topic. Sorry, I think we got off topic. Sadako, right? Don't worry. I actually already invited her. Huh? You serious? When everyone went to the shrine to prepare for the festival, we started about getting Sadako to the festival itself. So then I used the phone I had in the assembly hall to invite her. Her uncle was acting distant and didn't seem to care at all. But in any case, we got the okay from him. We decided all to meet up and go together tomorrow. You okay with that? Satoshi? Stupid, I'm not Satoshi. I was a little relieved. I hadn't needed to make the phone call. Sadako had already been invited to the festival. And on the way that smelled of blood. A way to leave her uncle alone to create time for me to kill him. They purely wanted Sadako to enjoy herself, so they invited her. In the end, it was the same. But I was happy for that slight difference. Sorry, I guess I didn't need to call then. First yesterday, now today. Sorry for saying such weird things. Just forget about it. No, I'm the one who should apologize. Losing it like that wasn't like me. I'm really sorry. We apologized to each other for a little bit. Alright, I'll be going now. Good night. What did you have to do? As if interrupting our parting words, Mion stuck straight where it hurt. Or is it like with Satoshi? Where you can't say it. Stupid. I keep telling you, I'm not Satoshi. Yeah, I know that. I deflected her with a response that wasn't really an answer. Mion didn't hound me anymore after that. Alright, this time for real. Good night. I don't know why you're giving me the same phone call as Satoshi-kun did, but... yeah, never mind. I'm sorry. Good night. I'm hanging up. Click. Satoshi Hojo. Just who are you? I scorned you as a coward who ran away abandoning his sister. I always thought you didn't have the right to call yourself her Nini. But how... now I didn't know what to think. Urashito-sama's curse in the 4th year. Their aunt's death and Satoshi's disappearance. Now me trying to carry out Urashito-sama's curse on the 5th. Oddly enough, what I was going to do overlapped perfectly with Satoshi, the day before the curse. No, that wasn't all. If we start back from Sadako being abused, then I had been overlapping with Satoshi for days already. When I talked to Mion before, she asked me if I was Satoshi. That was the first impression a third party like Mion got. Then it was probably true. Then if Satoshi had accepted, I would succeed in the murder. But that was the extent to which we overlapped. I was far calmer than Satoshi, and more calculating. I could actually grow calmer, the more enthusiastic I became. That's why I wouldn't follow in Satoshi's footsteps. I'd snip him cleanly out of the world, and then get our peaceful life back. Maybe Satoshi had been with me ever since I chose to use Satoshi's bat as my weapon. No, maybe even longer than that, when I decided I'd be her Nini. Maybe Satoshi had been residing within me then, too. Satoshi, are you really a coward? Or are you a true Nini even now? The kind worthy of Sadako's love. I had never met him, never spoke to him, didn't even know his face, and yet I felt so connected to him. I had never felt that way before.
You gotta firmly grasp that bat! And bash it in somebody's head. Gotta smash some asshole's head in. Wow. These chapters are getting shorter. But this would mark 2 chapters and would mark the end of... Possessed! It's a bat! Yes. Attention for those who have instanced this letter something. July blank 1982. Okiyamiya Police Station, 1st Investigation Division. Chief Takasugi. Prefecture Police Headquarters for the Eradication of Drug-Related Crime. Shishabone Branch Head. Regarding incident designated as undercover investigation. Now I'm just gonna do like Markiplier's way of fucking doing blank words. This message is to inform you that a section of the testimony records of an incident under this police headquarters jurisdiction has been found and thought to be related to the undercover investigation of the incident in question, Okiyamiya Police Station X, Hinamizawa Village housewife slaughter incident. During the incident of suspect who was arrested for possession of illegal drugs, there was a testimony related to the crime in question, and as part of it, we learned that the criminal had information only he could have known. Therefore, this record of testimony, duplicate attached, will be provided to you. If this testimony is to be believed, then there is an extremely high chance that the suspect was the culprit behind the incident in question. In addition, the head investigator on the case received this report and inquired as to the incident to the Okiyamiya Police Station, but the responsible party at Okiyamiya Station, who responded in the designated undercover investigation announced by the prefecture's police general director on July 1st, 1982, Osamura Fusakane, B112, misunderstood and did not explain the incident's existence to the head investigator on the case properly. Because of this, the case head investigator was not aware of the importance of the testimony as it related to the case in question, and as a result was negligent when coming the scene. We apologize for having left it in the dark until now. In addition, there is a postscript saying that the suspect died while in confinement yesterday on beep. Weird. So the drug addict, the deviant, died while in questioning, while in his confinement, a few days later. Intriguing. Well, so that was the end of chapter 9. There should be about 2 chapters, maybe 3 at most. And I'll finish it tomorrow, or I can do half a chapter now. Nah, I think I'm gonna end it here, because usually I do two chapters and then call it, because that's about 2 hours. This time it was only an hour and a half. Woohoo! So, I'm gonna call it a night, you guys. May the quiet music lull you into dreams.